There's something undeniably magnetic about the person who walks into a room and says nothing, yet somehow everyone notices. No loud entrances, no flashy presence, no desperate need to dominate the space. Just a silent, steady gravity that pulls the attention their way without asking. That's not charisma in the conventional sense. That's power. And more specifically, it's the kind of power Machiavelli understood intimately. Presence through restraint, an aura shaped not by noise, but by stillness. We often mistake control for action. We assume that to dominate a room, we have to command it aloud, through speech, confidence, volume, or charisma. But true control, the kind that silences the room before you even speak, lives in a different domain. It lives in composure, in the discipline to withhold, in the patience to allow others to reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. The Machiavellian doesn't enter a room to be seen. They enter to be felt. And the key to this kind of presence is controlled stillness. Physical, verbal, emotional stillness. When you move with calm purpose, when you speak only when it matters, when your face betrays nothing but quiet confidence, people take notice, whether they realize it or not. Why? Because in a world addicted to movement, chaos, and reaction, stillness is unsettling. It's not what people expect. It throws off their rhythm. They don't know how to read it, and what they can't read, they begin to respect or fear. Machiavelli famously warned that being loved isn't as safe as being feared. But the kind of fear he referred to wasn't built on screaming or force. It was built on underestimation, on unpredictability, on the subtle understanding that the quieter someone is, the more they might be seeing. And that idea still holds. When you're the stillest person in the room, you become the most difficult to decipher. And when people can't easily figure you out, they tread lightly around you. That's not accidental. It's a signal that you've taken control of the dynamic. Stillness forces people inward. It draws silence from others because there's a weight in your presence that makes small talk feel frivolous. Your demeanor challenges theirs. It begins to ask questions without words. Who is this person who doesn't need to prove anything? Why don't they seem desperate for attention like the rest? That's when curiosity becomes intrigue. And intrigue, that's the silent hand of influence. You don't need to cut through the noise with volume. You make the noise stop simply by refusing to join it. That deliberate control of energy becomes your weapon. It allows you to steer conversations without grasping. It allows you to make your presence felt without ever having to announce yourself. You simply fold into the space with steady posture, unhurried movements, and the confidence to address what's necessary, and only what's necessary. This doesn't mean you're passive. It means you're targeted. You conserve your movements, your reactions, your voice, using them like a scalpel, not a hammer. The loudest people are often performing. The quiet ones, they're calculating. And nothing unsettles a person more than someone who is clearly in control, yet never needing to declare it. That's power you can't teach in motivational seminars. It's only born from conscious discipline and self-command. And it is discipline. Don't mistake stillness for complacency. It isn't about sitting in the corner, hoping people notice you. It's about choosing how to show up, choosing not to react when others would, choosing to withhold expression when it gives you advantage, choosing not to interrupt silence even when the room is uncomfortable with it. Machiavelli would argue that control over others begins with control over yourself. If you can't command your own energy, your words, your expression, how can you expect others to respond to your presence? So when you enter a room, how you carry yourself signals everything. The way you hold your gaze, not too eager, but never unsure. The way you stand, rooted, relaxed, certain. The stillness of your hands, your breath, your tone, all suggest to everyone watching that you're not here to chase their approval. You bring your own weather with you. People respect that. They are drawn to it without knowing why, because it suggests mastery, and mastery in silence is louder than anything chaos can scream. This is why those with real status don't flinch to be quiet. Their silence doesn't weaken their image, it strengthens it. Stillness becomes a display of internal strength, not lack of confidence. And more than that, it becomes a reflection of power that feels earned, not performed. Because the person who can silence a room without saying a word is never forgotten and never underestimated. There's an old saying that words are power. But Machiavelli would likely scoff at that unless you added a critical twist, ***, the right words, spoken at the right time, by the right person, ***, that's power. Talking for the sake of noise isn't a display of strength. It's a giveaway of your position before the game has even begun. The truth is, the most powerful person in the room is rarely the loudest. Often, it's the one who speaks the least, but whose words land with such clarity and intention that silence follows them like an echo. In a world addicted to speed and constant commentary, strategic silence has become a rare form of dominance. Most people talk to fill in gaps. They talk because quiet makes them anxious, because they can't bear the discomfort of ambiguity, or because they think they need to assert themselves constantly to be taken seriously. But the Machiavellian mind knows better. It understands that speaking is not the same as influencing, and that the value of your voice depends on how carefully you use it. When you speak less, people begin to listen more. It seems backward, but that's the paradox of power. The fewer words you offer, the more weight each one carries. The person who speaks only when it's necessary creates an aura of precision. They're not contributing to the noise, they're cutting through it. People begin to hang on to every sentence, not because you're louder, but because you're rarer. You've conditioned them to understand that when you speak, it means something, and meaning in any room is power. Machiavelli advised rulers to be cautious in revealing their thoughts and intentions, and that discipline applies to speech. Speaking is revealing. Every sentence is a thread of belief, of emotion, of strategy that someone sharper than you can pull on and unravel. But the man or woman who speaks sparingly never reveals the shape of their mind. They control the exchange. They answer questions without truly answering. They redirect rather than confront. Their words are clean, deliberate, and calm, just enough to move others, but never so much that they can be read. This is where influence becomes art. The strategic speaker plants ideas instead of arguments. They don't push, they suggest. They construct phrases with room for interpretation, because ambiguity, when wielded wisely, gives you control over how others receive your message. They offer incomplete truths, giving the listener just enough to feel empowered, but not so much that they hold the full picture. When done correctly, your words become seeds, and seeds, once planted in the right minds, grow far beyond what a direct command ever could. But restraint isn't just about how much you say, it's about timing. A single sentence introduced at the perfect moment can change the entire direction of a conversation, a deal, or a room. Timing gives your words gravity. You wait until tension rises, you read the emotional current, and then you drop your words like a measured strike. Not reactive, but patiently opportunistic. People remember who calmed the storm when everyone was yelling, not who added to the noise. There's also a psychological shift that happens when you stop over-talking. People start to project onto you. When you don't constantly explain, clarify, or justify, you allow others to wonder. They start attributing depth to your silence, believing in intelligence or insight you may not have even offered directly. That's the irony. Say less, and others start saying more about you in their own minds. You become a mirror, a canvas for them to interpret. And in influence, being interpreted is more powerful than being understood. Another advantage of tactical speaking is that it allows you to observe while others expose themselves. If you're always talking, you're not paying full attention. But if you sit back and let others show their cards first, filling the air with their assumptions, fears, and desires, you gain the upper hand. People reveal everything in how they speak: tone, speed, choice of words, contradictions, even what they leave unsaid. When you stay quiet and watch, you arm yourself. And when you choose to speak, it's not to guess. It's to strike. Make no mistake, this is not passivity. This is deliberate control. It requires confidence to withhold. It takes strength not to correct every criticism, not to explain every intention, not to insert yourself into every exchange. Strategic speech is not about silence, but about sovereignty. You are holding your position, not wasting it. You speak when it serves the outcome, not when it serves your ego. And when your presence is already established, when people come to expect that your words are few but meaningful, you reach a new level of authority. Rooms quiet down when you begin. Interruptions die off. People recalculate their responses before reacting, because suddenly they you're not someone to talk over. You're someone to listen to, not because you demand it, but because you've taught them through your actions that silence is your stance until substance is required. Eventually, your silence becomes a signal of power in itself. People raid into it. They start to watch for it. Silence starts conversations. Restraint becomes reputation. And you, without forcing anything, begin to pull the strings without ever raising your voice. Because the most powerful voice in the room is the one that doesn't need to speak often to be heard. Before you even open your mouth, before you speak a single word, the room has already made a decision about you. It happens in the first few seconds, sometimes even less. They've scanned your posture, your clothing, your expression. They've measured your steps, how you carried yourself through the door, whether you looked around the room or simply entered it like it belonged to you. What most people don't realize is that in those few moments, their image is already sealed in the minds of others. The Machiavellian doesn't underestimate this. In fact, they use it, they craft it, because first impressions aren't just reactions. They're tools of control. Machiavelli understood image as a weapon. He advised rulers not just to be powerful, but to seem powerful. Not just to act with intelligence, but to appear virtuous, steady, and in command at all times, even when they weren't. That's because perception, especially in moments where knowledge is limited, is reality, and nothing shapes perception faster and more definitively than a first impression. If you want to build an aura that silences a room, you start with how you enter it, how you carry yourself, and what you signal without uttering a word. Most people walk in trying to belong, hoping to be liked, subtly looking for permission to exist in the space. But power does the opposite. Power doesn't ask, it enters with certainty. Whether you're in a boardroom, a party, or a negotiation, your presence should arrive 5 seconds before your words do, and it doesn't require arrogance or theatrics. Just an unspoken understanding that you do not need to prove yourself. That self-containment reverberates through your body language. Your walk, for instance, should be deliberate, never rushed, never wandering. There is purpose in your stride, as though you know exactly where you're headed and why you're there. Your posture is upright, eyes forward, every movement expandable into leadership. You don't shrink yourself to fit in, you expand calmly, asserting territory without flamboyance. Even your stillness says something, holding your hands with intention, not fidgeting, not touching your face, not shifting nervously. All of that tells the room you have already decided who you are. The mystery begins there. Then there's eye contact, one of your most potent tools. You don't avoid it, and you certainly don't overdo it. You meet people's eyes with steadiness long enough to be seen, short enough to remain elusive. Machiavellians master presence not by being the loudest in the room, but by being the most composed. While others compete to be noticed, you create discomfort in the quiet confidence of your gaze. People don't quite know what you're thinking, and that's exactly the point. When someone can't fully read you, they start imagining. And when they fill in the blanks, they often overestimate your power rather than underestimate it. Your facial expressions matter more than people realize. In a world full of reactive faces nodding too quickly, smiling too often, laughing before jokes land, the person who holds a neutral, unreadable expression gains control. You're not cold, you're composed, and that discipline signals that you are not moved by triviality. When emotion creeps in, it comes on your terms. You smile when you choose. You shift demeanor when it serves you not the room, and certainly not the insecurities of others. People instinctively look for leadership in every room, someone to align their energy with. They look for a center of gravity. When you carry yourself as if you're the most stable thing in that space, others begin to orbit around it. This is about psychological positioning. Before you've said anything of substance, you've already communicated, I'm not subject to this room's dynamics. I set them. Clothing plays a role, but not in the loud way fashion often teaches. It's not about dressing to impress. It's about dressing in a way that reinforces your command. Neutral colors, clean lines, nothing that screams for attention, only pieces that suggest decisiveness and taste. Understated power silences more effectively than flashy confidence. Machiavelli would say it's more dangerous to be underestimated early and then reveal strength later than to begin at full volume and be exposed as shallow. And finally, when you do speak, if that moment does come, it must feel earned, not just for you, but for them. Your first words should be delivered with calm clarity, adjusted to the temperature of the room, but never too eager, never rushed. You do not chase silence. You let the silence come to you. This is how you dominate first impressions. This is how you control the way people engage with you, before you've even begun to engage with them. It's not luck, it's not charisma, and it's certainly not noise. It's intention, discipline, and understanding that in the eyes of a Machiavellian, how you appear is not just the start of influence. It's the foundation of total control. Because when you build a presence so deliberate, so composed, and so unshakably certain, the room silences itself. There's a kind of power that doesn't come from appearance or speech. It comes from what you don't show, what you keep beneath the surface. It's the strength that comes from being unreadable, untouchable, emotionally steady while everyone else fluctuates with the mood, the moment, the tension. And this, more than anything else, is what makes people cautious around you. It's not your charm, it's not your resume. It's your ability to maintain emotional detachment, the sound of calm when others want chaos. That is what makes the room quiet when you walk in. Machiavelli didn't just talk about strategy, deception, or politics. He understood human nature in its rawest form. And he knew how emotions played directly into manipulation, into weakness, into predictable behavior. The more reactive you are, the more controllable you become. Get angry, and people know where your buttons are. Get flustered, and they start to press them. Get too excited, and they learn how to bait you. But when you carry yourself like a sealed vault, when your emotions don't dance to the tune of the room, you shift from being a participant to being a presence. People trust those who seem unshakable, but more importantly, they respect them, even if they can't quite articulate why. If your energy doesn't rise with compliments or drop with insults, you're sending a very clear message. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on external approval. You're governed by something deeper, something internal, something independent of public perception. And that unnerves people, because most are still trying to find security by mirroring the group. When you don't participate in that social dependence, you become difficult to predict, and very difficult to control. This doesn't mean becoming cold, robotic, or indifferent to the world around you. It means becoming selective. You filter emotions not because you don't have them, but because you understand their effect in a social arena. Composure is power, and power, when restrained, becomes even more intimidating. If someone insults you and you don't even blink, they lose leverage. If someone tries to provoke you and you respond with stillness instead of rage, they suddenly realize they're the only one swinging. That's how psychological control is established, by refusing to hand over your emotional center to someone else. We live in a world obsessed with emotional expression. Everything must be felt out loud, shared proudly, validated collectively. Vulnerability has its place, but power true silent power requires emotional discretion, the ability to feel deeply, yet express only what is strategically useful. Not to suppress what makes you human, but to channel it like a weapon. Emotional detachment isn't about becoming less human. It's about not allowing others to use your humanity as a handle to move you at will. When people can't read you, they begin to hesitate. And hesitation is where influence begins. They don't know if you're the threat or the ally, if you're studying them or protecting something they'll never get close to. And that gap, that unknown, gives you room to steer conversations, decisions, and interactions without them even realizing it's happening. You never raise your voice, you never react impulsively, you respond with surgical exactness, and in many cases you don't respond at all. Silence is a full sentence to those already on edge trying to figure you out. Think of a negotiation. One person haggles, argues, puffs up their authority. The other remains calm, listening, unmoved. Who's controlling the space? It's not the one talking. It's the one whose value doesn't need defending. And that same energy applies to everything: social interactions, leadership, attraction, influence. Emotional detachment doesn't repel people, it draws them in. They want to know what's behind the curtain. They want to unlock the read. And while they're busy thinking about you've already begun to shape how they think about themselves. Detach doesn't mean disconnect. You can still connect deeply, powerfully, with intention, but unlike most people, You're not controlled by the urge to be understood. You're not pulled around by the social winds. You choose when to open up and when to hold the line. You don't need to fix the silence, clarify every glance, or respond to emotional bait. You control the rhythm of engagement, and that rhythm becomes the pulse others unconsciously match. Because when you can walk into a room, let the chaos swirl around you, and remain completely unmoved, poised, unreadable, calm, you don't just silence the noise. You become the standard by which everyone else measures their own stability, and that is when your presence no longer speaks, it commands.